Welcome back to our channel FIR Carbon Copy Case Number 2, the murder that shook the entire world. Warning guys, if you have soft or weak hearted, please do not watch this video as it is very dark and true crime case. So this case begins in Los Angeles Sunset Strip. As you guys know, Los Angeles is one of the world's most famous city. The city is internationally known to be the world of the rich and famous because of Hollywood, the main home of major entertainment company. And also it had a lot of pubbing, restaurant, gambling, and as well as prostitution. So in 1980s, all the female involved in prostitution started getting missing without any clue, and the females involved in prostitution started fearing for their life, and they started doubting all the clients. The reason behind this was they found a dead body without a head behind a restaurant. Police tried all the wits out to find the missing head but couldn't find it. Even after 4 days, police had no clue where the heck was the dead body head. A young man was traveling on a LA outskirts and found a wooden chest on the side of the road. He was really rejoiced, happy, thinking that he had a jackpot, looking at the wooden chest. When he approached it and opened it, he was really shocked to see a head of a dead body. And when he called 911, the police arrived really soon and investigated it, and later found that it was the same head which they found near the Los Angeles restaurant. So immediately they sent the head to the forensic department to investigate further, and it was really surprised. They were surprised to know the head was frozen and had semen all over the mouth. Douglas Daniel Clark, born in 1948, was a son of a Navy officer, and his dad was fond of traveling. You can imagine, before Douglas could finish his higher studies, he had traveled almost 37 countries. As he traveled a lot, he couldn't make any friends. And on the other hand, his wife, Carol M. Bundy, born on 1942, 26th August, and was a nurse. Her parents were alcoholic, and her mom dies due to consumption of alcohol. At the age of 11, Carol and her younger sister were abused by her own father. They didn't even had a clue with what was happening to them, as they were just kids. But still, Carol wasn't comfortable with what was happening to her, and her sister started playing a game where the person who loses would stay the night with her father. At the same time, Douglas was studying in a Geneva school. It is an elite school where all the famous people children, or the politician children, or the actor children used to study. Douglas started drinking in his school time and was really abusive with his teachers. So he was expelled from the school. To get Douglas on the track, his father opts to join him in a marine school or military school. Once he joined there, he started flirting with all the girls possible and was very much intimate with most of the girls, and he used to take photos of those girls and send it to his friends and colleagues to brag about it. On the other hand, Carol married at the age of 17 to a 50-year-old man who was thrice the age of Carol. The relation did not long last, but Carol indeed managed to get married to a couple of people. In this marriage, she happened to have two kids. Later, she did divorce and stayed alone, and as a single parent, she started to grow up the kids. Douglas joined Air Force, but he was let out within few years of his service because of his irregularity. But he did try a lot of job, but never could not sustain in any of the job because he wasn't really serious about his job and never was on time for any of the shift. Finally, he decided to move to Los Angeles, where he started working in a factory. After his shift, he would usually visit to any nearby pubs or restaurant and try to mingle with the single ladies, middle-aged single ladies, so that he can flirt with them and get intimate. On the other hand, there was a character called Jack Murray. He was a singer, a country song singer. He used to sing in pubs, and eventually he met Carol at the same pub, and they got gelled well, and apparently they used to stay in the same building, on the same apartment with different rooms. So eventually they became friends, and later it developed into a relationship. But Jack Murray wasn't very serious about Carol. One day she went to visit Jack. She accidentally met Douglas, who was younger to her and was charming with his words. Douglas and Carol started dating each other. She even moved to Douglas' house with her two kids. Douglas wasn't sexually happy with Carol, so as she did not wanted him out of her life, she agreed to his sexual fantasy. Even threesome, she used to talk to females, get them home. They used to have all the sexual fantasy they dreamed about. Carol and Douglas' relationship started in 1980 Jan. By the end of June 1980, Sunset Strip started seeing several prostitutes missing. So in one incident, there were two girls called Gina Morrow and Cynthia Chandler. Ran away from their home, ended up in Los Angeles Sunset Strip. They started prostitution just because they could not survive or sustain the cost of the city. So when they were standing for their client, it happened Douglas saw them and invited them in his car. He took them to a lonely place where he had sex with them and finally shot them on their head and killed them. Later, he took the bodies to his home in a garage where he had sex with the dead bodies and then packed them in a blanket and threw them on a highway. Later, he told the entire scenario to Carol, who was really felt weird about the situation and could not know what to do later. She happened to call 911 and inform the incident. Before she could tell the cops about her identity and reveal Douglas' identity, she cut the call. And when Douglas insisted her to join in this murder and she refused, So Douglas started fighting her. As she moved into Douglas' house and she was very fond of him, she did not wanted to leave him. So she had no other option. Douglas insisted her to join, but she refused. So Douglas said she is still fond of Jack Murray. That is the reason she is not getting involved with her. To prove Douglas wrong, to make him realize he is the one for her, Douglas asked her to murder Jack Murray. So eventually she went to meet Jack Murray near the club and asked him to meet outside the club in Jack Murray's car. So both of them met, and when they started to get intimate, Carol shot Jack Murray and cut the head, packed in her bag, took the head to Douglas' house and told him, "Look, we have a visitor, Jack Murray." Douglas got really furious and could not control his temper. And later, Carol picked up his head from her bag and showed it to him, which made Douglas to laugh. Both of them laughed about it. Now he thought he could use Carol as a tool. Eventually, Carol began to do everything that Douglas asked. She used to go talk to a female and bring them home. They used to have threesome, and Douglas started killing people and having sex with their dead bodies. For the next victim, Douglas started his patrolling. There he found Exie Wilson and Karen Jones. He approached them to hop into his car. Exie Wilson agreed to join him. When he wanted to kill her, she defended herself and bit him harder. Getting offended of this, Douglas chopped her head, throws her body into a restaurant parking place, and keeps her head in the car trunk space. Fearing Karen Jones could identify him, he goes back for her. For her fate, Karen still was on the street. So he sees Karen and asks her to join him. She does not have any clue that her friend was killed by the same person and her friend's head is still in the trunk. He does the same, he kills her, he has sex with the body and dumps them on the highway. And later he goes to home taking the head of Exie Wilson. Carol and Douglas play with the head. As Carol was working as a nurse, her behavior changed. A colleague started noticing it and started asking her what's wrong with her. And eventually she had to give up and let them know what actually happened with her. Hearing this, her colleagues were really surprised and they were in shock. Finally, they happened to call the cops and investigated their house, car, wherein they found all the evidence they required. Arrested Carol and Douglas, produced in the court, where the court announced a death sentence to Douglas and life in prison was announced for Carol. Later in the year 2003, Carol died because of heart attack. This is all, guys. This is the story. If you like, please subscribe our channel. Help us to promote more. Thank you for watching. Have a great day. Bye-bye.